night finally descends upon you as you ease into your favorite armchair. You attempt to light a fire in your dim reading room while tree branches scrape against the window. Swiftly, you turn around as you swear you heard your name being whispered behind you. It must be nothing, you say under your breath, and you try to focus on building the fire, but beads of sweat appear on your forehead when you notice from the corner of your eye strange shapes appearing in the shadows of the empty hallway nearby. With your shaking hands, you attempt to pour a stiff drink, hoping to settle your nerves, and you decide to put on your favorite podcast. But to your despair, you soon realize that they're doing a creepy, eerie, skin-crawling episode, and you start to feel your sanity slowly slip away as the shadows in the hallway draw closer. Welcome to Canadian Politics is Boring, Halloween edition.
That's good. That's good. That was Jesse's scary intro. And now we're going to share a list. Have you got your list of scary things?
I do.
You ready?
Welcome, everyone, to Canadian Politics is Boring.
Welcome.
Halloween edition.
And we basically thought we'd Jesse's awesome intro, and now we've got this other intro where we list a series of scary things just to get you in the mood. Are you ready, Jess? Do you want to go with the first one?
A naked man covered in butter running full tilt toward you.
Zombies.
Oh, that's good. Okay. A tornado in a chainsaw testing facility.
Zombie pirates.
The sound of children laughing at 3 a.m. from the other room in your house when you don't have children.
Ghosts.
You accidentally wore the same clothes as your boss to work.
Ghost pirates.
You spent a lot of time on this list.
I did.
Santa Claus, standing over your bed, watching you sleep, unblinking.
Bald cats.
That one I agree with.
Horrible. Abominations.
Terrifying. You're enjoying the morning, eating a bowl of cereal as you stare lazily out the window at the rising sun. You look down at your cereal to take another spoonful when you realize that this whole time you've actually been eating a bowl of teeth.
Drinking orange juice after brushing your teeth.
That's not scary, it's just disgusting.
Scary.
Although it was related, that was nice.
Yeah, they were good. That was good. That was good fortune.
Waking up, bound and gagged in the trunk of a car for the 5th time today.
People who call pets fur babies.
When you're alone in a cave and yell, hello, to hear the echo, but the cave responds with, goodbye.
People who call children skin babies.
Never heard that in my life.
Is this what you say? Oh, they're my fur babies. Well, I've got actual children. I call them my skin babies.
When your cat hisses and backs away from an open doorway of an empty room.
Realizing there's no toilet roll mid-dump.
I mean, that is actually pretty scary.
I use my socks once.
My last one. You got what?
I use my socks.
Is this true?
I just put them in the little bin next to the toilet because I didn't want to block it with socks. And then I just put my bare feet in my trainers and went home. It's like a mitt. I call that improvising. I MacGyvered my ass, so.
I love that movie.
What would MacGyver do?
All right, my last one. You're taking a romantic horse-drawn carriage ride through the streets of Old Montreal when you look up and suddenly realize it's not horses that are pulling you, but 4 naked men slathered in butter running at full tilt.
Oh, you tied it back.
All right, you like that?
I didn't write a last one, so I can improvise one.
Okay.
1-star reviews. Here we go.
Those aren't scary, they're just sad.
Some of them are scary.
Like the one that said they wanted to punch our podcast?
Yeah, they said if I could punch a podcast, I would.
Yep.
Well, the closest thing to punching our podcast is us.
That's true.
Halloween.
Halloween!
Tell me, why do people celebrate Halloween?
It's a reason to party and get candy and get drunk and put on sexy outfits. Pretty much. There's really no other reason. Although I think...
How did it start?
I mean, All Hallows Eve, where that originated, I don't know. I believe... I mean, if I'm going to butcher this horribly. From what I understand, it was to appease the dead. The dead would arise sometime around Halloween, and we would put on scary-looking costumes. It wasn't supposed to be scary. It was supposed to be... We were supposed to blend in with the dead so as to have them not bother us when they arose for one day out of the year. And it became tradition to dress like the dead, thus dress like scary things. And then it became dress like sexy dead things, which is a weird thing I still don't understand.
Dead things traditionally aren't sexy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I think that's where the history originated from, but I'm pretty sure I butchered that history.
And that is the official line of this podcast, Dead Things Aren't Sexy.
Yes.
Also the name of my first album. If I ever release one.
Your polka one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, well, you're kind of there. Cool. So, almost. So, Samhain is a Celtic spiritual tradition.
Is Halloween Celtic in nature, in tradition, in history? Oh my God, in origin.
And so, it looks like Samhain, it looks like it's Samhain. Is how it looks like it's spelt. So I'm sure it gets called that. Just like people say Celtic instead of Celtic.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
So
how do you pronounce it? Because I've seen
Samhain,
but
it looks like Samhain.
I've seen Samhain, and I've wondered how to pronounce that, and all of my guesses are wildly incorrect.
It's is Gaelic, so like a lot of Gaelic and like Gaelic languages or Celtic languages don't pronounce things. Samhain. So. And that was a festival that was celebrated by Celts from October the 31st to November the 1st to welcome in the harvest and usher in the dark half of the year. So celebrants believe, people who would celebrate that holiday believed the barriers between the physical world and the spiritual world were broken down during this period. So humans and creatures from the other world would be inhabiting the same space at the same time. Which is kind of like Halloween.
Yeah, okay.
So during this time of year, hearth fires in family homes were left to burn out while the harvest was gathered. And then druid priests would light a fire using a fire wheel that would cause friction and spark flames like a firework. And the wheel was considered a representation of the sun. And then people would pray. They would sacrifice cattle.
What?
They would sacrifice cattle.
Why?
Kill animals.
Yeah, no, I know what it means. Why would they do it?
Because well, they did. That was the in thing.
It's just it was the fad that year.
That was the fad that year. Yeah. They were wearing fluorescent T-shirts and sacrificing cows. That was the craze, and they had their hair spiky.
I feel like this is a weird rave you're describing. Just
and participants took exactly. Yeah. So participants took a flame from the communal bonfire back to their homes, and then they would relight the fire in their homes as part of the ceremony.
And then hopefully cook the cow they just killed.
I assume they wouldn't. Well, it was a sacrifice, so they would probably leave it there for the gods to slowly devour with flies.
Oh, okay. Samhain sounds super fun. So, I mean, it sounds half fun. I'll admit that the bonfires and the fluorescent shirts.
So Samhain was apparently it was a mandatory celebration lasting 3 days and 3 nights, where the community was required to show themselves to local kings and chieftains, and failure to participate was believed to result in punishment from the gods, usually illness or death. So if you didn't go, they didn't kill you, but they were like, "There's a good chance you'll die." And I don't know whether that's like a mafia kind of. Well, if you don't pay me the money, you might fall over and get hurt next week. It was much more of a. It was bad luck not to go. So because people were worried that the realities were merging temporarily during this period. They would leave offerings outside villages for fairies, just to go, leave us alone.
Okay.
So
for fairies.
For fairies. So
fairies are really big in the UK, aren't they?
They're massive. So in Ireland, if you're building a road or a new development, you have to leave a patch of grass for the fairies as a tribute.
Kidding?
No, I'm not. No.
Even to this day.
even to this day, is tradition.
You have to what? If you're building a road, like a highway, like a super highway.
You have to make sure that there's a patch of land for the fairies. It's
a
tradition.
So
it's bad luck not
government building a super highway, make sure to include in the budget time to build a patch of grass.
No, just you've got to leave a patch of the original grass there.
Or
something.
But still, they do that.
In Iceland, it's like more than 50% of the people still believe in those old kind of almost like Viking religions. So fairies are a part of like just the belief system. So you'll get like rock formations that are considered to be like fairy churches or buildings that they have to build roads around and things that they can't demolish.
Wow.
It's just like any other religion. It's just theirs. So
neat.
The wind blows cold. The branches of a nearby tree scrape against the vinyl siding of your house. Sweat drips down your forehead as you realize it's time for a special announcement.
and this is what you touched on. You were kind of right. So because
I like being kind of right.
Because they expected ancestors and creatures to pass over from the other world.
Right.
Celts would dress as animals and monsters, so fairies were not tempted to kidnap them and take them back to the fairy realm, which is a common thing in Celtic mythology, is that fairies would kidnap you, take you back to the fairy realm where time was experienced differently, and then bring you back, and you might be of only aged 3 days, but everyone you know died and you've disappeared 100 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That's a recurring theme in fairy. And a lot of people say that it's very similar to alien abduction, where you have the idea of lost time and go into like a bright white light and experiencing these strange creatures. It's a really weird cultural thing, which I find fascinating.
That is fascinating. I wonder how many instances of people coming back 100 years later looking identical and saying that they are who that a person was 100 years ago.
They took me to the fairy realm. You don't know me, but I've been living with the fairies for 100 years. So I imagine they'd talk. So.
After living with the fairies for 100 years, yeah.
Didn't you vanish 100 years ago? It's like, it's only been 3 days for me. It's like, not very nice. So
that's the only reaction. Yeah, so they're so polite over in the UK that the reaction to fairies kidnapping someone for 100 years is, that's not very nice.
No, that's not very nice.
That's not very nice.
It was, how were you feeling? It wasn't very nice. I'll be honest, everyone I knew and loved died. I'm now trying to convince my great-grandchildren to let me live with them. Although my bank account, the interest went up quite a lot. And I got a clean slate. So there are some really specific monsters as well with this festival. So there's a shape-shifting creature called a puka, which is actually like so they leave offerings in the fields to stop the puka from coming into your home. Because in Celtic,
it sounds like a Pokemon.
Well, in Celtic mythology, essentially it was a poltergeist. It would throw things around and cause havoc in homes. So the puka was they believed a goblin that would come and cause mischief in your home. But today, like, that phenomena people call a poltergeist, if you believe that kind of thing. Right. So there was also another being called the Lady Gwyn, who was a headless woman dressed in white who would chase wanderers at night. And she was always accompanied by a black pig.
Oh my God!
So a headless woman with a headless woman with no head. A headless woman with a black pig would chase after you.
What would happen if she caught you?
I don't know. She can't bite you, so
right? What's she gonna do?
Maybe just give you an uncomfortable massage. You look traumatized. I was massaged by a decapitated woman.
I always wondered stuff like that, like these stories. Like, what would happen if they caught you? Like, what then? What's a decapitated woman going to do to you? Even if it's terrifying to think of. But what if you just, okay, there she is, and she's caught me. Okay, just push her aside. They're not that strong. So, take her pig, piss her off. Sacrifice the pig like it would the rest of the cattle.
I don't know. But also there was also headless men on horses who carried their heads. They had
is that where the story
Headless
for
Horseman,
Headless Horseman comes from?
So
yeah.
and
Ichabod Crane.
Exactly, riding flame-eyed horses. Their appearance was a death omen to anyone who encountered them.
Jesus.
And there was a group of hunters known as the Fairy Host who would hunt people and kidnap them and steal. They would break into houses and steal souls.
Oh, wow.
So, and apparently it was tradition to carve turnips called jack-o'-lanterns, which eventually became, which was an Irish tradition. Which
Turnips, not pumpkins.
No, turnips originally. If you Google Irish turnip jack-o'-lanterns, they look terrifying. They were like really like
How
small.
big do turnips get? They're tiny.
Well, you'd have to be just careful and clever in how you carve stuff. And then that switched to pumpkins.
And then someone discovered, oh, this is much easier with pumpkins. We should be doing this the whole
I think
time.
as the Irish moved to North America, they discovered pumpkins, and it was easier to do, pumpkins. You could carve it. You can carve a pumpkin way easier than turnip.
That's what I was saying. Side note on jack-o'-lanterns. When I was younger, in my 20s, there was a mall that existed. It doesn't anymore. And every Sunday they'd have a flea market there, and I booked a table for like $50, and then I got up I bought a bunch of pumpkins, and I got my friends to work like an 8-hour shift carving jack-o'-lanterns from like different styles we found on the internet, and we made like 12 to 15 pre-carved jack-o'-lanterns, and I brought them to the flea market to sell, and I didn't sell any except for one. I sold one that was, instead of a face on the pumpkin, it was a carved out middle finger. And these two guys who hated Halloween so much, they're like, this is perfect. We'll put this out, and this will tell the kids to fuck off. Like, they'll know not to come to our house, right? And that was the only one I sold.
So because the fun part is carving the pumpkin. You took all the fun out of it. Because they always look shit. But the fun is getting covered in, like, up to your elbows in seeds and pulp.
That's what I was selling, the lack of fun.
Exactly. You're like, look, I've defund these pumpkins. Pre-defund pumpkins. And also in Wales, where I might have mentioned I'm from.
Only a few times.
There was a tradition. I love this tradition. Men tossed burning wood at each other in violent games. I love throwing burning wood at my friends and family. It's a great tradition.
I'm going to start.
Light some wood, throw it. And the thing is as well, there's no risk of bushfires because at that time of the year in Wales, it rains 24/7.
Really?
Heavy rain, mist rain, drizzle, all different kinds of rain.
Name some other types of rain, Reese.
Big fat rain. It's just Forrest Gump. Just big old fat rain. Rain that comes up from the ground. Purple rain. Lots of rain. So, and there was also
big fat rain. That's my favorite.
Do you know do you want to know what my favorite rain is?
Yes, please.
And
it's not big fat rain. That's
in the
mine.
UK, you get used to rain. So when you actually find rain that you like, that's a big thing. So when I went to Florida as a kid...
Oh, that's why you called it big fat rain, because nobody in the UK likes rain. So all the different descriptors for rain are insulting in nature.
Well, you like people who live in the Arctic regions have like 200 words for snow.
Yes.
There's like so many different words for rain. Okay. But
Really?
I went to Florida and there was like a thunderstorm and it rained, but the rain was really thick, but really warm. It was like having a shower outside for free.
Warm rain is weird. I think I've only
And I
experienced
was like,
it once.
if it rained like this all the time in my life, I would like rain. Because I was just wanted to stand there and enjoy hot rain.
Right? Hot rain.
Hot Florida rain is my favorite.
That was Prince's discontinued. It was never released. Hot rain. It was,
Right. Exactly. So, coming back to Halloween, enough about
enough about hot rain and big fat rain. Big fat hot rain.
big fat hot rain from Florida. There was also a tradition of a dumb supper, and this began. Yeah, so
Say that again.
a dumb supper.
Dumb.
Dumb supper.
Dumb.
Which food
Okay.
was consumed by those at the party after inviting ancestors to join, giving the families a chance to interact with the spirits they left following dinner. So people would pretend that dead family members were eating with them.
Why is it called a dumb supper? Did people
I don't-
not?
I don't know.
Dumb is like being mute. You don't speak, right?
I don't know. It was just called a dumb supper. Maybe because they were quiet and you were talking.
Really creepy. Can you imagine sitting around a table with all your relatives eating, no one's speaking because like the ghosts aren't speaking either, who you're assuming is there with you, also eating for plates that you filled up in between you, whatever. And you have to that'd be eerie and creepy as fuck. Oh my
It's about
God.
to get creepier.
No.
So children would play games to entertain the dead, while adults would
throw burning wood at each other.
like little bits of wood, just like balsa wood.
Oh, okay.
And
the good
adults would
burning
update
type.
the dead on the past year's news. And that night, doors and windows would be left open for the dead to come in and eat cakes that had been left out for them.
Now that's interesting. So, like with Santa Claus,
If I was a criminal,
Yeah.
that would be the perfect night to. Not only do you get a widescreen TV, you also get a cake. Exactly. Thank you very much. Amazon Alexa, flat screen TV, Nintendo Switch with 5 games, and a bowl of cakes. Best thing is, they didn't even hear me come in. I didn't have to smash a window. I didn't have to crowbar the door. It was great.
oh my God.
It's why I never post that I'm on holiday or away on social media when I'm there. I'll only ever post when I get back.
Smart.
Because it's the perfect opportunity for someone to go, hey, he's away for 2 weeks.
Right?
And I can see if he's still there because he's posting every hour like an idiot.
It'd also be a really good way to catch local criminals by posting photos as if you were there, but just sitting in the dark in your living room with a shotgun.
So it's like a TikTok video. I am not a policeman. I'm going to leave my house. And look, I'm leaving the door open. Bye. I won't be back until 3 o'clock. This is my address.
I mean, maybe a little more subtle than that. Just, I am not a policeman.
By the way, did I say I'm not a policeman?
I once convinced a large portion of people on my Facebook that I just like, that's it. I'm going to Florida. I don't care. I took a close-up of the inside of a handle of a laundry detergent bottle in my window. And the close-up of it looked very similar to an airplane seat window. And that's all I did. Just took of some clouds in the background with this sort of cutout of the laundry detergent handle. Like, that's it. I'm out of here. See you guys. See you suckers later. And so many people, where are you going? Oh, wow. Holy shit. And then I just took another photo further back and everyone's very upset with me. That's all I have to say about that. That's my story.
That's why you've only got 5 friends on Facebook.
That's true. Yeah. Now 4 because of that incident. Yeah,
So, eventually, all this Celtic fun.
The dumb suppers this creeps me out. If they genuinely were eating with people they considered to be dead and no one was speaking for an hour, that's fucked. That's really creepy.
See that old chair over there? That's where your granddad sat. Tell granddad how well you've done in school this year. Did I mention he's dead? Go and sit on his lap. Oh, traumatize your children with imagined dead people in your home.
I'm wondering what would happen when they left cakes out for the dead. Did they wake up the next morning and were disappointed when they weren't eaten? And what happens if they were?
I would do what I do at Christmas.
Are their kids thank God the parents literally believe this crap. They're leaving more cakes out. Let's go, Susie. And then they sneak out and they eat all the cakes and then they go back to bed. And the parents wake up and they're like, oh, see, it worked.
When I was a kid,
a reversal for Christmas.
Well, we always leave a mince pie and sherry out for Santa.
A what pie?
Mince pie.
Mince pie. Oh, that's like a meat pie, isn't it?
No. Oh my God, I forgot about this. This isn't a Christmas episode. Mince is like a mixture of fruit and
like a fruitcake.
spices and stuff. Yeah, but it's like a mince pie. It used to be meat, but now it's like a dessert pie.
Huh.
And you leave one out for Santa and sherry or whiskey or a glass of milk or whatever and a carrot for Rudolph.
This is for Santa gets whiskey at every single fucking house he visits in the UK.
Every or sherry.
Single house he gets a drink of hard liquor.
So every Christmas I go down and I take a big bite out of the mince pie, but leave some crumbs. I down the drink, whatever it might be, and then I snap the carrot in half and give half to my dog. And the kids come in and I go, oh my God, he's been and he had a snack. So that's what I would do if it was.
I'd like to see a show where one of two things is happening. Okay, in that world, in that realm of possibility, Santa is either A, unaffected by alcohol whatsoever, and drinks it out of obligation for the for the holiday, and it's just so full it just needs to piss all the time. But he's like, oh God, another, and it's like he just downs all this whiskey and it does nothing to him. Or after 300 houses, it's just a madhouse. Just he's pissing on the Christmas trees. He's coming through the windows. He's taking naps on the stove. Like he's just Christmas. Just this is like if every house left him a whiskey or a sherry. Sorry, I'm really relishing in that imagination world of my own brain.
I want to wrangle this back to
Halloween.
Yeah, okay. As much as I love to talking about Christmas. Christmas is a Christian holiday, and the Celts were eventually massacred and taken over by the Romans, who then converted to Christianity. So
fun times.
Christianity didn't like Samhain, and I love this name, Pope Boniface.
What?
Pope Boniface.
Is that
Boniface? Pope Boniface of the 5th century.
Oh, no, let's call him Boniface.
Pope Boniface, Johnny Boniface, in the 5th century, tried to move the celebration to May the 13th and specified it as a day of celebrating saints and martyrs. So he basically said, no, you can't do that anymore. It's now in the spring and we're going to do this. And people ignored that and they carried on celebrating anyway. So then in the 9th century, Pope Gregory moved the celebration back to that and called it All Souls Day. But that didn't really catch on. And October the 31st was just stuck as Halloween and still kind of celebrated. It was brought over to America by Irish, Scottish, and Celtic immigrants. And trick-or-treating, as it's known in North America, was derived from ancient Irish, Scottish practices where... like in Ireland, mumming was a practice where they would put on costumes and go door to door, sing songs.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah.
That's a Newfoundland tradition.
And cakes were given as payment.
They're called mummers in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
They still do it to this day, as far as I know.
And there were some other Welsh traditions from Halloween.
Have you ever gone to a mummers party?
I haven't gone to a mummers party.
Neither have I. I wish I was too young at the time, but I wish it's fascinating. I don't know if
they didn't do it in Wales. In Wales, for me, Halloween as a kid was getting boxes of eggs, trying to find a shop that would sell kids' eggs because they wouldn't sell eggs to kids around Halloween. Getting eggs, throwing eggs at people's houses.
Jeez, I wonder why they didn't sell eggs to kids on Halloween.
And just causing havoc. The police would drive past, sometimes throw eggs at police cars just to get a chase.
They're the perfect weapon.
They are. They're so aerodynamic. They're so good at throwing, but they cause no damage when they land. They
just piss people off.
They piss people off, exactly. So,
if I was young when I was living in Newfoundland, I was about 14 years old. So if I remember this incorrectly, if someone could write and let us know, please let us do. But from what I understand, the mummers tradition, you either went out or you hosted. And you would you'd have like music, and you'd have like live music, and you'd have food, and much the same as going trick-or-treating, except you dress up not to scare, but to disguise yourself. And you just walk into a neighbor's house. You just walk in, right? And you'd have to disguise your voice, and your face and your body were disguised, and you were offered food, and you were offered drink, and you could stay as long as you like, and then if you had enough, you wandered out of the house and wandered into another neighbor's house and did the same thing there. And if your neighbor could guess who you were, you had to take your mask off. But if they couldn't, you could keep it on and just keep eating and drinking.
That's amazing. That's very similar to those kind of Celtic traditions still.
Oh, yeah?
By the sounds of it.
I would have loved to go back to Newfoundland just to do that, honestly. I never got a chance to.
I'm Batman. No, you're not. You're Bruce Wayne. Damn it. Just like that. And when I was looking at these Celtic traditions, there were two Welsh traditions I found from this festival that happens in some parts of Wales. So at one festival, you scratch your name onto a stone and throw it into a fire. And then when the fire goes out, if your stone is missing, you will die within a year.
Jesus.
Which is nice.
Why would you want to play that game at all?
What a fun game.
Right.
And the other one was single women would walk around the bounds of a church shouting, "Here is the sheath, where is the knife?" To which they would hear the name of the person they were to marry shouted. Here is the sheath, where is the knife? It's very, a lot of innuendo.
Yeah, that's... Last time that was told to me in bed it was not romantic at all. It was very.
He's like, where is the knife? I am the sheath. Kind of thing.
That's exactly.
I do a lot of voices. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's good.
It's good. Yeah.
It's very high. A lot of high pitched voices. It's like.
Exactly. That's your grandfather in that chair. His soul's come to visit us for the night.
Bring him a whiskey and a sherry and this cake and sit on his lap and don't leave until he tells you.
Shall I close the windows? No, the dead might need cakes.
The mystery of why children got drunk on Hallows Eve.
So again, no politics, but just some interesting facts about Halloween.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot this is not about politics. But I don't care.
Alongside Jesse's amazing intro, we also have a bonus episode coming out on October the 31st, which is just a horror story voiced by me.
I'm so excited about this.
About it's a horror story inspired by an incident with Stephen Harper.
Based on a true story?
It's based on a true story.
No.
Stephen Harper won Halloween.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Well, yeah, you have to listen to it. But
yeah, no, it's amazing. And Reese, you've outdone yourself in your song.
I had fun.
It's not songwriting. I guess this would be poetry, prose,
it's not
prose, just prose. Okay,
prose,
yeah.
Awesome prose
by Reese.
So, thank you for listening to this Halloween show. We hope you're scared.
Well, hold on. How do we get to the name Halloween? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I didn't look that up. It's all Hallows Eve. And
where did that come from?
And then it was celebrated by tweens, so they put Halloween. Hallows Eve and tweens. Halloween.
Is that you just making that up?
I
on the
made
spot
that up completely on the spot, and you believe it every time. So, happy Halloween. I hope you're so scared that you might die, but you don't actually die.
Right. And eat lots of cake, drink lots of whiskey, and say hello to your dead relatives tonight. Leave your doors and windows wide open.
Email us your address, the stuff you got, so we know whether it's worth having. And let us know you're going to leave the windows open. And
I like a 12-year-old Glenfiddich.
And I like chocolate cake.
There you go.
So, you never know. Maybe this Halloween, Reese and Jesse will climb through your window and steal your stuff. So it's a new tradition.
I've always wanted to do a reverse burglary where you break into someone's home and leave them nicer stuff. Just to confuse the shit out of them.
That's basically HGTV.
Is that... Those shows.
Somebody already did it.
It'd be way funnier if they didn't know that their house was being renovated. Surprise! What? Who did this?
It's really crazy. They're twin brothers, but they both renovate homes. We should do a home renovation show.
No, we shouldn't.
Where we renovate the homes of politicians
without them knowing. And drink all the booze and eat all the cakes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I hope we've scared the shit out of you.
Yes, so much feces in your pants right now is the goal.
And that you don't sleep tonight. You have terrible traumatic nightmares.
Because of all the shit in your pants.
And that the barriers between the dead and the living decline rapidly, and all of the horrible beasts of the other world roam free through the streets of Halifax, Winnipeg, and other cities in Canada that I can't remember the name of. Because I've only lived here 2.5 years.
That was good, really good. You were on a roll. I was just going to let you keep going. That was very creepy.
And the headless women with black pigs chase you through the night, trying to give you a back rub. That is my dream. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween! Jesus Christ. Oh, Reese.